Welcome to another episode on our channel. Today we're talking about Enemy at the Gates that came out in 2001. That's 22 years ago. That's a long time ago. It was a good movie. If you haven't seen it, you should see it. But basically, in this movie, we have the conflict between the Soviet Union at the time and Germany during World War II. And Joseph Fiennes, who played Commisar Danilov in the movie, he and a group of other men were asked, who could we get to be the Soviet Union's hero, to represent the motherland, and to motivate the troops in fighting the Germans? And he immediately recommended Vasily Zaitsev, who was a sniper, and a very good sniper at that. It was reported that he killed 225 combatants during the Battle of Stalingrad. And he got on Germany's radar, and they sent in Erwin Koenig, played by Ed Harris, because he was a sniper, and his task was to take out this sniper. So that's the movie in a nutshell, and I'll leave it at that in case you haven't seen the movie, so there are no spoilers. So we will pause now and look at each one of these characters individually. When I saw this sculpt, I immediately thought of Enemy at the Gates and Commisar Danilov, because this guy looked just like the actor who played the Commissar, looked like Joseph Fiennes. In fact, the sculpt was actually named Joseph, Josef. It's not how Joseph Fiennes is spelled, but you kind of got the meaning. Plus, he had glasses, just like the character did in the movie. I used him actually in the episode on World War II, the Allied powers, to represent the Soviet Union. But I decided he's a perfect representation of this character, so I'm going to try to get a uniform together that looks like the uniform he wore. So the pants are the same color as the shirt underneath the jacket. I don't know if this medal belongs on the guy, but I just thought it was cool looking, so I left it on. He definitely is not, tremendously accessorized, and there's not much to see on the back, so I won't even go there. But I made the belt. I was able to find a holster and a weapon that was appropriate for that time frame for the Soviet Union. I was able to put the right insignia on the collar, and I think I did a fairly good job with getting the uniform hopefully correct, perhaps with the exception of this medal. Regardless, we'll pause now and get a tighter close-up of him, and then we will get a close-up of his face. So here he is with a tighter close-up. I'm just going to turn him a little bit because there's not much to see. Maybe just a profile shot here. There you go. He kind of looks a little bit from a distance like he's cross-eyed, but he really is not. And you'll see that with the close-up of the head sculpt. So we'll pause now and get that particular close-up. Here's a very good close-up of him. We'll pause now so I can take the glasses off and you can see the details of his face much more clearly. I actually like him better with glasses, but now you can see more details. You can see the stubble on his chin and side of his face. His eyes are very intense. I think this is a very good close-up. Here's our German in the movie. He looks very stately in his uniform. His hat is down here. I tend not to put hats on my characters, especially if I don't want to draw your attention away from their facial features and he really has a good head sculpt on him. This came out as a set by Dragon and Dreams. I missed the boat on getting the set. I don't think I even watched the movie way back when. So I wasn't really looking for this character at that time. But later on, when I found the Joseph Fiennes head, I decided, okay, let me try to create the threesome, and started to kitbash this character together. I was even able to find the sniper rifle that was made by Dragon in Dreams. So it has its own scope here. You can kind of see it better this way, maybe. It's very well made. It's very heavy. So that was a nice find. Other things I had to improvise with, certain things in terms of insignia. But overall, I'm pretty pleased with the outcome. Here he is, and he's very well dressed, obviously. You can see the medals on his uniform. He has a holster and a firearm. He's looking very stately. So I'll just turn him a little to each side. So you can see, let's just see a profile shot right there. And then turn him back so that you can see him from the other side slightly. There we go. All right, now we'll get a close-up of his face. This is a fantastic sculpt of Ed Harris. You can again see the stubble on his face, and again the intensity of his stare as well. I got this uniform a while back so I could represent the Soviet Union when I put together the World War II characters. I initially had Joseph's head on this body, but then I started to think, he really needs to be Joseph Fiennes in the movie Enemy at the Gates, so I made him, and then I went looking for a Jude Law head, and I used that to put this guy together. I already had an Ed Harris head, so I could put the German together. So it wasn't difficult to make the decision to make all three characters. What was hard is finding accessories for him. The only thing I found was like a canteen here. I was able to find the Dragon and Dreams sniper weapon for the set that had come out years ago. And, of course, the uniform. And the hat down here. Again, I don't usually put hats on figures. The sculpt is not as good as the other two sculpts. You'll see that when we have a close-up. But I'll keep my eyes open for a better sculpt and hopefully find one down the road. Anyway, we'll pause now and get a better close-up of him. Folks, I forgot to turn him around to show you something in the back, which is kind of interesting. His poncho is very large. That would keep the rain off of him. But what I thought was very interesting is that there's a slit here on the side of the poncho. And I believe that's where you would put your arm through to take a shot, do your job and take out enemy combatants. So you would stay mostly dry, but your arm might get somewhat wet if it was raining hard. So anyway, I think that's what that's for. But there he is. And now we'll get some tighter close-ups of him. Here you can see more details in terms of his sniper rifle, his Mosin, and canteen, and perhaps a little bit more of his uniform. The weapon that the German had, of course, was Mauser, but you folks knew that already. Here's a close-up of him. You can see that the facial details aren't as advanced as the head sculpts for Joseph Fiennes and Ed Harris. So I will keep looking, and when I find a better head sculpt, I'll put that one on him instead of this one. Here's one last look at our figures. Sometimes we have to be patient and wait for certain pieces to come along to really make a set sing. I think I'll be happy when I find a better sculpt for the Jude Law character. But until then, I hope you've liked what you've seen. If you have, consider giving us a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. In the meantime, everyone, have a great day.